Hello and welcome to Sunday League Virtual Season 2, Round 3. We're here at the Jewel in the Crown of the Sunday League Virtual calendar. Monte Carlo, Monaco, a historic street circuit hosting its first Grand Prix in 1929. Well, nearly 100 years later, we're here at Monaco in Sunday League Virtual, the most esteemed motorsport competition across the UR2D universe. Got the drivers out on their first lap in qualifying here. I'll run you through, as per usual, the upgrades that the teams went for this week. So obviously last week we had the major appeal of the grip upgrade, 8 teams going for it, a lot more balanced across the board this time around. We'll run through it now. VLO go for a double turbo upgrade, they succeed it. Sorry about the police car coming by my house. Rain coming in the middle of qualifying. Will it ruin the end of the second lap for these drivers? They certainly will if they come into the pit lane. It entirely depends on whether they will do that. They don't. They finish out the lap. Bad exit out the final corner and a long run to the line. But Spuda still improves, the driver we're following on board with at the moment. So really interesting to see. None of them will get a good final lap in here. So essentially qualifying is over. I'll run through the upgrades very quickly. VLO succeed a double turbo upgrade. FVR fail a speed upgrade. THX succeed an acceleration upgrade. WTEC fail a speed upgrade, unlike last week. SFR and BAR both fail acceleration upgrades. SBM and KRT both succeed acceleration upgrades. PMP, for the third race consecutively, succeed an upgrade, this time at speed. BFX get another turbo upgrade, making it their third this season. End of qualifying here in Monaco, a track where qualifying is deemed to be incredibly important. What will the order look like here today? Kubo takes pole position, Vlado 1, on the front row for super fast racing. Sobel, in a PMP car yet to score points this season, will start third on the grid. Jake Brad in fourth for BAR, Girouni 5th place for FVR, Hernandi in 6th for KRT. Then we've got Spuda, Pit Crew, Antti and Andres rounding out the top 10, a double top 10 for SFR, a double top 10 for the WTEC team. Just outside it, Uris in 11th place, 10 positions behind his teammate. Grandi in 12th, Vlado 204 takes 13th spot, and Ikoloski takes 14th, Bluebell Boy. Then G4 on the 8th row of the grid, Menica, Rito, Levioso and Goose as the rest of the field. Now a very exciting little feature I've got for us today. If I do this, ta-da, we can see the token usage. So Urist starting in 11th will be using 0 tokens. Kubo starting on pole position using 3 tokens. In fact, let me pull this up externally to make it a little bit easier. Game on Goose starting in last place will be using no tokens. Meanwhile, Girouni will be using 2 tokens starting from 5th. Pretty impressive qualifying session there. Grandi using no tokens today. He'll start down in 12th place. His teammate using 2 tokens. Pit Crew starts 8th. Spuda uses 2 tokens here today. He'll be starting 7th. Andres starting in the top 10 without spending any tokens whatsoever. Both SFRs go for the token spend. They qualify 2nd and 9th respectively. Meanwhile, Jake Brad going for a 3 token spend. He'll be starting 4th. Ikoloski, his teammate, 1 token spent for him. Only 14th on the grid for him. SBMs neither spending tokens, expending their 17th and 19th in qualifying. Vlado 2 not spending tokens, so 13th place is impressive qualifying. Hernandi spending 4 tokens, only managing 6th on the grid. We haven't had a winner from above 8th on the grid today, so starting low, not necessarily a bad thing. I say today, I meant this season, sorry. Sobel using 3 tokens, starting in 3rd place respectively. G4, Bluebell Boy and Rito all using no tokens. They'll be starting 15th, 16th and 18th on the grid. Very exciting here with Token Cam featuring for the very first time in Sunday League Virtual. We're ready to get underway here for the Monaco Grand Prix. Let me turn off Token Cam. Here we go. Dry start for the drivers. Here, 5 lights ahead of them. We're underway here in Monaco. Kubo leads them away from pole position. Vlado 1 up the inside. He's starting on the soft compound tyres. He should get the better acceleration out through the first sector. Sobel holding on to 3rd place at the moment. Jake Brad and Hernandi fighting over 5th and 4th. Hernandi already making up 2 positions from the race start. Sobel, meanwhile, looking to get involved here. Going side by side with Kubo is Vlado 1. Kubo takes the lead of the race off him. Nandi up into 2nd place already. Fantastic. Vlad looking to push back at him, the namesake of his teammate, and he does. Into Raskas, gets the position back, loses it immediately. Might be under risk of from Sobel here. No, straight line speed on those softs, helping him out 3 wide into Sandevot. Kubo dropping back on those medium compound tyres. We've got a 5-car pack here for the lead of the race. Hernandi leading them away, although Vlado 1 battling him through the Grand Hotel hairpin. Girouni hits the wall, not too badly affected. The front 2 still going at it though, side by side going into the Nouvelle chicane. Kubo has to cut across the gravel, that loses in position to Sobel. Girouni on the softs now up into 4th place. He loses 2 positions through to back on the swing pool chicane. Sobel up there. Hernandi goes wide into the final corner. Can't quite manage to keep the position. Girouni goes through. Hernandi falls out of the podium positions for now. Girouni looking to make advantages up here. PMP scoring their first points of the season with a podium will be particularly impressive here in Monaco. Vlado 1 still leading them away in front. Hernandi back up into 3rd place, takes that spot off Girouni, who's in 4th, and we've got Kubo a little bit behind. Spuda and Jake also looking to join this pack. We've got a little gap back to Andres using no tokens today. Pit Crew, our highest hard runner, right behind him. Bluebell and Ikolowski and Antti. They're all running in the rest of the top 10, fighting for that final point peg position. Spuda looking to make a move here. They're just stuck in a little bit of a train. Sobel holds off Hernandi as best he can. Real life teammates. In game, less so. They're looking to scrap over 2nd place here. Sobel on the harder, slower tyre. Obviously all the same life, having all started the race on these tyres. Dry start for all. Sobel still maintaining 2nd place here. It's really just a game of irritation. It's as much as he can hold Hernandi up, the better. But down this long main straight, really easy for those running the softs just to get better traction out of the last corner, make a move before you even hit the apex of Sandevot, and I think that is really crucial for those running the softs. Sobel though still holding on to 3rd place. Then we've got Girouni, Spuda, Kubo, gap back to Jake, gap back to Andres. Then we've got Pit Crew battling him for that. Ikolowski squeezed into the wall onto the exit of, I believe that's Portier, might be wrong. Goes for a move on Antti, running 2 steps harder compound from the race start on the SFR car, just inside the top 10. He makes a move on Andres going to the swimming pool chicane. Fantastic move there. Ikolowski looks to do the same. Andres drops outside the top 10 in the matter of just 2 corners. Oh, whoa, poor start for him. Unfortunately, the no token user not able to make that work. We'll have a look at the highest token users for this race. That seems to be a good idea. 4 tokens being spent by Hernandi, the only driver to do so, not yet into 1st place, although he's definitely looking to hunt that down over the course of the next lap or so. 3 tokens spent for Kubo and Jake and Sobel, or 3 token spenders at the moment. Jake down in 5th place. Now a few have come into the pits, but not really optimal for him as Hernandi has now pit, comes out right behind Pit Crew. He'll be in 8th place for the time being. A lot of drivers using 2 tokens today. They are Girouni, Pit Crew, Spuda, Antti, Vlad 01 are the drivers, all using 2. Ikolowski using 1. Nobody else using any tokens. Pretty high token spend today. 24 overall, which is above the expected average of around 20. So we'll have a look. Vlad 01 comes into pit. The question is, has the undercut worked from Hernandi as he pulls through into turn 1 into the net lead of the race? Fantastic from him. Actually, no. Girouni is in the net lead of the race. Girouni on the soft, I didn't even spot there. A step harder than Hernandi's tyres. They all get squeezed into the wall on the exit of the hairpin there. Girouni is in the net lead of the race, having stopped once, having been ahead of Hernandi, and Jake using 3 tokens, not having stopped, is already a pit stop behind those who have. Nearly sideswipes Hernandi into the pit lane. That wouldn't have helped his race at all. Antti also yet to have stopped looking to help out his teammate a little bit here. Vlad 01, who's just 2, 3 cars behind him in the background as he goes for a move on pit crew. Gets that done on much softer, much fresher tyres. Now, as much as Antti can hold up Hernandi here, will be the best. Hernandi gets a penalty for squeezing out Antti. This allows Vlad to get past both of them. What an incredible team manoeuvre from the super fast racing cars. Vlado 2, Vlado 1. Sorry, it's going to take me a while to get used to that. Up into net second place, Jiruni. In the net race lead, Spuda on old medium compound tyres, still yet to stop. One of the only few drivers yet to stop alongside Anti-Eurus Menica and Game On Goose. Doing his best job to hold up Jiruni to give us a more interesting fight for the lead here. Remember though, Jiruni does have all the tyres going for that undercut, similar to Hernandi. Jiruni down the inside at back. Spuda not looking to have much grip left in those tyres, makes a half-hearted attempt into the swimming pool and pulls into the gorgeous brown tarmac of the pit lane here in Monaco. Jiruni leads the race, Vlado 1, right behind on the soft compound tyres. Then we've got all the way down to 18th place, drivers running the mediums or hard, looks to be predominantly mediums, and Hetmenica and Vlado 2 in the final 2 positions running the soft. So we've got a bit of a soft, medium, hard sandwich here. Vlad 01 looking to chase down Jiruni. It's a 33-second lap time here, so a 1-lap undercut, while it may boost you positions, particularly at the beginning where it's really crucial to just not be held up by those going different strategies to you. It's no laughing matter if you've got, 33, 34 seconds older tyres than one of your competitors. That is a big issue, and Jiruni will be vibrantly aware of that now. That's not a word. Sobel in 3rd place, looking to pick up whatever scraps are left from this battle. They're finally actually going for the fight here. Vlad to the inside on the exit of the Nouvelle Chicane, round the outside at back, into the swimming pool, down the inside into Raskas. Jiruni fights it back, can't quite get back at him through Anthony Nuge. Sobel round to the outside of Jiruni there, and as predicted, does pick up the scraps of the battle. He's up into 2nd place on the medium compound tyre, both fresher and longer lasting than Vlad's, and he's going to look to fight him round the outside here and does get the race lead. Fantastic for the PMP driver. They've made huge strides in their car development so far this season, almost a laughing stock coming into the season, with the car overall reaching -4, I believe it was, on the development index. Vlado 1 and Jiruni into the pit lane here. But Sobel really showing who's boss, going for the overcut on those medium tyres. He will lose the race lead from those soft runners, but look, he's still got a couple laps left in these mediums as he does start to come up to lap the backmarker drivers. Vlado 2, Eurist, Goose, Rito, Hetmenica, Grandi, Levioso, Bluebell, all these drivers not using any tokens, nor is G4 or Andres. EK running in 10th is the lowest running driver to be using a token. Then Anti using 2, Pit Crew using 2, Vlado 1 using 2, Nandi and Jiruni battle for the net podium here. And Vlad looking to really get on the action as well, goes to the inside of Hernandi, down the main straight as easy as he'd like it. Really interesting. Hernandi seems to have massively fallen off from what looked like a surefire fight for the win for him, and it's just not turned out to be that way. Sorry, about 3rd into the race. Vlado 2 and Jiruni and Sobel looking to be our main protagonists for that race win. Sobel still out on those tyres, still out in the lead of the race. Spuda actually in 2nd place at the moment. Kubo in 3rd, all running the alternate strategy to begin with. Vlado 01 to the inside of Jake Brad. Jake Brad using 3 tokens today, should be fighting for the top positions. Doesn't look to be at the moment, unfortunately for him. Vlado 1 gets a little penalty for squeezing out Kubo, who is, as aforementioned, running a different strategy here, trying to stretch those hards out as much as he can and really just irritate the soft compound runners. He's massively doing that this lap. Vlado 1 has to back out of a move there in order to not come into contact with the wall. So really, really good defensive driving from Kubo on that last lap. That's helped grow the gap from Vlado 1 to Jiruni to about a 2nd here. Jiruni then a good bit back on Spuda, who is running the different strategy. 1 stop so far in this race, as has Sobel, Jiruni and Vlad. 2 stopping so far, then Kubo, Jake, Anti, and pit crew also just having done 1 stop, everyone down to 14th on a 2nd stop, and then it mixed up a little bit. Grandy, Rito, Goose on 1, Het on 2, Eurist on 1, and Vlado 2 on 2. Wow, that was a real mouthful. Sobel comes into the pit lane for the hards. This is the tyre that we've been waiting to see the front runners properly use here. Kubo testing it out a little bit, but Sobel really giving it a run for its money. He'll come out in 7th place behind Jake Brad pretty comfortably, behind the lapped car of Vlado 2, behind Anti, behind Kubo, and crucially quite a long way behind Vlad and Jaruni, but they'll have to come in the next couple laps. So you might not even want to think of this as an overcut for Sobel. Instead, think of it as skipping a pit stop and going for the undercut, because these drivers, Jaruni, as he comes up to lap his teammate, try and make a move on Spuda for the actual race lead, does get it, as Vlado 1 has fallen back a little bit. You've got to think that these tyres will not last, 3 laps. They will be in by the time that they've reached that. So all of them, Spuda included, Kubo as well, Anti maybe as well, and Sobel is the next up driver. All of these ahead on much older tyres, right? Spuda and Jaruni and Vlad all in on the same lap, none of them getting each other's way coming into the pit box. Has the Sobel undercut worked? Where is he? No, not quite. He's out behind them. Interesting. Very interesting. So, okay, little strategy update. Spuda and Vlad fighting it out there. Spuda has really actually brought himself into the fight for the win here. Originally wasn't looking to be that way, especially with him only spending 2 tokens, but the speed upgrades on that WTEC car, along with all the other upgrades included, really massively helping their pace here, despite the token less used than Sobel, than Jaruni, who I believe is using... Oh, is he using 2? Jaruni is using 2. Then Vlad, who's using 3, who's now out in the lead of the race. A little bit of backmarker chaos, especially on the exit of that hairpin, where we've seen a lot of penalties handed out already this race, probably quite fairly, with, over-aggressive squeezing, you'd call it. Lapped cars getting in the way. This is your racy reminder that there are no blue flags in Sunday League Virtual. Lap cars are free to battle as they wish. Obviously they will lose time, they're not really fighting for anything, but if that's the route they want to go down, then that may be their choice. Vlado 1 and Jaruni fighting it over the lead of the race. Vlado 1 on the softs, Jaruni on the hards. So Sobel on the hards as well, Spuda on the medium. So we're going for a mixed strategy as we come to not quite the halfway point in this race, but little bit under it. It's a particularly long race, Monaco. It's one of the 2 in the season, Interlagos being the other one, of course, that will stretch for quite a long time period. Should be about half an hour race compared to the normal 25 minutes. To give it more of a special feel, a special occasion, being a very prized event in the Sunday League Virtual calendar, of course. Not able to have it last season, Season 1, due to the shortened 8-race calendar due to the COVID-19 pandemic, or let's just say it was. Sobel on the hards is going to interrupt my rambling, but he's nowhere near anyone, so we'll cut to Spuda, who's also nowhere near anyone. Vlado 1, there we go, making a move on Jaruni. Jaruni, as mentioned before, on the hard compound tyres. We'll have a little look down the rest of the field while there's not that much strategy going on. At the top, Kubo, who pitted relatively recently, 5th place, running strong on the mediums, using 2 tokens today, 3 tokens today rather, is Kubo. In fact, let me pull up the token counter again. This is your little reminder of the tokens. We've got Eurist on none, Kubo on 3, Goose on none, Jaruni on 2, Grandy on none, Pitker on 2, Spuda on 2, Andrews on none, Anti on 2, Vlad on 2, Jake on 3, EK on 1, Het on none, Lev on none, Vlado 2 on none, Nandi on 4, Sobel on 3, G4 on none, BBB on none, and Rito on none, as we get rain here in Monaco for the first time in the race. And how will this affect the strategy? Kubo, first driver into the pits, and he'll exit from the pits. A little bit of a messy exit there, but it does finally start raining. Heavy rain announced, as you can see from the little weather icon that popped up just a few seconds ago. So these front runners actually all have to do an extra lap. Jaruni, funnily enough, On the hards, we've got a three-way fight for the lead here. Really interestingly, the rain's going to lessen in intensity. Does that make a potential choice of the Inters worthy? Not particularly. Sobel, the last minus Bluebell to come in for the tyres. Let's see how that's worked actually. It looks like Kubo has triggered an undercut on Sobel there. Jake very nearly doing the same thing, both using 3 tokens this race, as just mentioned before. I promise I know who's using what tokens, I swear. Sobel, right behind him. Jake gets the move done into the hairpin. We've got the sun coming back. Maybe the Inters would have been the choice here. Difficult to tell. Girouni not that far off Spuda, who's inherited the lead. Spuda has taken a stop less. He ran, as mentioned earlier, an alternate strategy to the front runners who were running on these soft compound tyres. So slightly different in terms of what he's done there. He has taken a stop less. He is now in second place. Was in first. Got overtaken by Girouni just at the start of this lap, as you saw. Kubo and Vlad, meanwhile, fighting it in the background. Kubo in third, Vlad in fourth. The undercut from Kubo really working. There's no such thing as tyre warm-up as such in this game, or at all, really. So it wouldn't make sense that Kubo's undercut has helped him. Rather, it should have hindered him. But, you know, he's caught Vlad. Vlad did the overcut, and I suppose it's just the closing of the gap that came from being on the right tyres at the right time, especially with the front four being totally stranded. Sobel, as you can see, now down in 6th place after being the last into the pit lane. Has been overtaken by Jake Braddon, pretty much left in the dust. Remember that PMP car, of course, still does have its issues. It's come a long way, but is still, relative to the field, pretty slow, particularly, I believe, on acceleration, one of their weak points there. Let's have a little look at the stats. 3 acceleration only for them. The other stats: 5 speed, 5 turbo, 6 grip. Everyone off their wet weather tyres. In for the slicks, as we get a nice little notification telling us it's going to be all sunshine and breezy right for the next few laps, at the very least. Sobel unlapping is Levioso right ahead of Sobel. That's not going to help him out too much, but they're on the same tyres. Sobel breaks free pretty well, but is now a good 3 seconds off. Jake Brad running in 5th place. Flydo 1 running 4th. Spuda went way too long on the wets. He's gone for an overcut. What's he doing? Oh my lord. He has boxed now for the mediums. Girouni overtakes Kubo. Vlad going down the main straight also overtake. Spuda comes out in 4th. They've pulled a Daniel Ricciardo strategy here. He's pitted from the lead of the race into 4th place. He just needed to go in on the same lap as everyone else and would have pretty easily done it. So I think the cutoff must have literally been P2, the first car into pit. Oh my lord. Kubo and Vlad, though, are battling here. Spuda on the mediums, so doesn't necessarily need to run away from this pack, just needs to hold on to the back of them, and Vlad will go into pit all frustrated and hot and bothered that he couldn't make his way past the harder compound runners. Jake, though, really fancying this. He got a poor race start, was down in 6th, 7th position, but the tokens will always win. When push comes to shove over a long period of time, the tokens that you use will affect your race in a positive way if you use a lot of tokens. Vlad in 3rd place, hogging the final spot on the podium currently. Spuda challenging him for it. Jake in the background. Spuda on the mediums gets past Vlad down the straight. Really interesting. They both get past the lap cars of Vlado 2 and Eurus. Jake also needs to negotiate these lap cars. That will lose him a bit of time coming up to these two fighting over 3rd and 4th. We've got Girouni in 2nd, being held up by his own lapped car, G4. Kubo becomes the fucking 18th different person to lead this race. He's out in front on the mediums. Girouni on the hards, looking pretty strong, but obviously with the hards it's a test of how long you can go. It's a test of endurance, not of outright pace to begin with, so obviously not much to be expected right from the get-go here from the hards. Uses the boost to close up a little bit coming up the hill through Massenet, closing into Kubo through the hairpin, and just takes a little bit too much pavement on the inside. That is real pavement in real life. If you hit that, you would probably spin or die, but not really to bother here. Girouni says, sizing up a move to the inside at the swimming pool chicane, needs to defend it through Raskas, does it well, fantastic. fantastic overtaking manoeuvre there. Kubo drops into second place. Might be third as Spuda looks to the outside at Sandoval, uses extra boost on the exit of the corner and is holding it flat down through the first sector and makes that move stick. Kubo from first to third place. Spuda up into second now. This podium gang slightly detached from Vlad, Jake and Sobel, the other three, really looking to fight for a podium here. Not to ride off pit crew, only spending 2 tokens, but up in 7th place. Very respectable there. Anti spending twice in 8th. Nandi spending 3 tokens in 9th place. Oh god, Nandi, what's gone wrong there? What is wrong with that car? 4 acceleration, that might explain it somewhat. Not entirely, but there we are. Jake and Vlad into the pit lane. There we go. They've come in for their fresh tyres, both on the soft, Sobel on the hards, and then we've got pit crew in 4th place now, also on the hards. We've got Kubo running in 3rd on the mediums, a little bit behind Jaruni, who's a little bit behind Spuda, who are both coming up to lap their teammates. That's a nice little photo. Are Goose and Andres battling each other for position, I wonder? They're not. Goose is being double lapped, Andres single lapped only, so that explains it there. Spuda out in the lead of the race, Jaruni lapping his teammate. Even more cut off from the pack behind, who have taken that pit stop, but pit crew on the hards pulling an Alonso-esque manoeuvre and really looking to hold these guys up. Vlad pushes his way past, as he often does in Sunday League. Jake, a little more gentle, does get stuck behind pit crew, so will pay the price of that. Vlad also threw it on Monaco, and now G4 looking really good on those fresh softs, and Eurus as well. Overtakes 4 lapped cars in a matter of corners and pulls away from them. Jake's managed to do the same. Good for him. Pit crew not quite in yet, but we're looking at a stop in the next couple of laps. Only 12 laps to go here in Monaco. Jaruni in 3rd, Kubo in 2nd, Spuda in 1st. The battle for the win at certain points was looking like it could have been Hernandi, looking like it could have been Sobel, looking like it could have been Jake, looking like it could have been anyone, but now it's looking like a Spuda v Kubo v Jaruni fight, sorry. Monaco gives the same number of points as any other win on the calendar, just the normal 25, but to win the Monaco Grand Prix is to go down in history books. The first ever Sunday League Virtual Monaco Grand Prix. There's no greater honour, in my opinion at least, as a humble commentator and indeed god of this universe, than winning the Monaco Grand Prix. You can understand why lots of drivers have gone for 2, 3, even 4 tokens today, to try and achieve just a special goal at a special track. So yeah, this is a fight for the win, but not just any win. A really important one. Kubo pits onto the hards out into 5th place. Final stint for him. They'll take him 11 laps to the end of the race. Jake holding him up. He's on softs that have just aged out a little bit. Kubo getting a penalty for shoving Jake into the wall there. Jake getting a bad enough exit that he can't overtake Kubo, coming back into the Nouvelle Chicane. Kubo keeps 4th. Vlad and Spuda and Jaruni all looking to come in soon. Just Spuda and Jaruni in this lap. Spuda taking the hards to the end, Jaruni on the mediums. Really interesting there. So Kubo and Vlado 1 now fighting over the lead. Kubo on brand spanking new hards, pulling the undercut on the cars ahead of him, particularly on Spuda there. As Kubo was running in 2nd earlier, now, very fortunately, has about a 2-second gap to them. But remember that 1 lap of tyre wear can make or break the difference, particularly, and this is very interesting, Spuda versus Jaruni here. Both running different tyres to the end of the race, having pitted at exactly the same time. Spuda will look to have better pace towards the end, but is looking to make good of his pace at the moment, because he's just gotten past, going into Sandoval up the inside of Jaruni there. A really good manoeuvre. Jaruni just a little bit behind him, and Rito there as well, squeezing him into the wall. So yeah, Spuda will have much better pace towards the end. It's right on the crossover where 10 laps mediums will last you. Spuda, I believe, was the driver to take them for 10 laps right at the race start. Vlado 1, who was looking in a good position with fresher tyres, has overcut by a few laps and is now essentially an entire pit stop behind them. We'll see where he comes out on the timing screens. He'll come out just behind Jake Brad, and he will be 5 seconds off this pack, battling for the win. So, to keep you updated on the tyres, Kubo pitting on lap 39 for hards, Jiruni pitting on lap 40 for mediums, Spuda pitting on lap 40 for hards. This is the fight for the podium, with Jake 4 seconds behind them, not looking incredibly likely that he'll break into that, particularly with these drivers all on pretty fresh tyres. Jiruni finally making use of those mediums, has pulled well clear on Spuda actually, Jesus Christ, and is now really chasing down Kubo. 3 seconds! That must have just happened in the last lap or so, and there doesn't really look to be any backmarker traffic in the way, minus Rito maybe. But that's an incredible gap to have pulled, really switching on those tyres, but again, those tyres will really be hurting towards the end. So Jeru, the question is to battle Kubo or to not battle Kubo here, as they come onto lap 44, the 6th to last lap of the race. Not battling Kubo would save them both time, particularly against Spuda, with the strategy being so marginal about medium versus hard for the final stint here. It really looks like that could come to Jiruni's advantage if he can not battle, or better yet, cleanly overtake and keep ahead of Kubo. That's what he's looked to do, gives a little love tap to the barrier on the exit of the Nouvelle, but Jiruni is into the lead of the Monaco Grand Prix. 5 laps to go here, but drivers in 2nd and 3rd running the hard compound tyre, which has significantly, noticeably better tyre life and will do towards the end of the race. He really just needs to keep it clean here, gets through on the back markers. This is a heart in your mouth moment. Kubo has 3 lapped cars in between himself and Jiruni. A 1.5 seconds is the gap here. Jiruni still out in the lead, needs to keep it neat, keep it tidy. He's got clean track ahead of him, and he's got rain on the way too. Fantastic. So he won't need to come down to these final clutch laps. He will come into pit, but he did miss the pit entrance. Kubo just about caught it, puts on the inters. Spuda did too, puts on the wets. Very, very interesting here. Jiruni still struggling on the exit of the hairpin, has this gap out into the lead of the race. This gap of only a couple seconds over his competitors, being the thing that will screw him out of a race win. He surely needs to come into pit for inters now. Pretty warm mediums, not dealing too well with the weather. There's Kubo rounding Raskas. There's Spuda behind him. Kubo into the lead of the race. Jiruni coming through the pits finally on the inters, but will emerge well behind the front two, nearly in 4th place. Vlado 1 right behind. The sun is on its way, but the track will not be dry before the end of the race. The question is now Kubo on the inters versus Spuda on the wets. 0.6 is the gap. Closing, closing, closing. As Spuda gets a better exit down through the tunnel section, a better exit down through to back, a better entry into Raskas, where he looks to make a move but fails it. Just doesn't get the traction. Not enough standing water for the wet to be the better tyre. Still looking to make that pace advantage. Get up behind Kubo. Kubo with that double turbo upgrade, looking to use all the turbo, all the battery he can to pull himself away from the South Korean racer Spuda. Really closing up now. Kubo looking for his first ever win in Sunday League Virtual. Spuda to the inside, at to back, does get the lead of the race. The track is nearly dry though. It will dry up at the end of the final lap of the Grand Prix. Spuda out in the lead. Kubo closes the gap into Saint-Devote, going through Massenet. Now, as they come up to the hairpin, Kubo to the inside gets the move done on the entry to the hairpin. Coming into the tunnel section now. The track nearly bone dry. They just need to keep it together. Kubo on the inters, much better equipped to deal with the low rain conditions, will keep this nice and neat. And round the final corner, Kubo wins the Monaco Grand Prix. Spuda will finish an agonizingly close 2nd, and Jiruni only managing 3rd place after a strategy blunder right at the end, when it really really mattered. Jake Brad in 4th place, not a terrible result, but not the best considering 3 tokens used than Vlado won. In 5th, a contender for the fight for the lead early on sinks down the pack. We'll have a look at the final results here and now. Kubo wins by 0.6 of a second in a race spanning nearly half an hour. Spuda in 2nd place, Jaruni 3rd place for FVR, takes the fastest lap of the race as well. Jake Brad in 4th, then SFRs of Vlado1 and Anti using 2 tokens each will finish 5th and 6th. Nandi 7th using 4 tokens, a terrible investment return, only gaining 6 points from that. That could put serious dents into any championship hopes that he may have. Pit Crew in 8th using 2 tokens. Sobel manages with 3 tokens to just about pick up PMP's first points of the season, 2 points to the team based in the United Kingdom. Ikolowski in 10th place for British Aerial Racing. It's a double top 10, Ikolowski using just 1 token to attain that result. Andres in 11th place for WTech, couldn't quite pull off the miracles of last race, getting points without tokens. G4 finishes the same position that he did last race, using no tokens this time around, which is very impressive. Bluebell in 13th and Levioso in 14th. And we've got Rito, we've got Grandy, Goose, Hetmenica, Urist, and Vlad0204 back of the pack. What an unbelievably entertaining Monaco Grand Prix that was. The most special occasion of the season, the most special venue of the season, and boy did it deliver. I really hope that you enjoyed that race, because I sure as hell did. I'll see you guys next time out for the Azerbaijan Grand Prix around the streets of Baku, but until then, it's bye bye from me.